Hi, Thespians. Welcome to Mastering Your Craft. Yes, I am Hadassah, your host. You know what I'm going to talk about today? I've been saying master your craft, right? Continue to master your craft. And I decided to talk about, what is the craft? Do we really know what the craft is? And I thought that I would deal with that. What exactly is the craft? Now here's the deal. I have my own personal definition that I wrote down here, and I'm going to read it. This is Hadassology. This is my personal definition based on acting. I've been acting. I think I spent 15 years acting. I spent 20 years directing and teaching drama. I trained for a good 5 years before I got out there. I still trained. And just being not only an artist, a professional, a connoisseur of the craft of acting, studying, reading, living, and breathing this stuff since I was a child, right? When I was a little girl, I was the go-to person in my family for all things acting in Hollywood because I was the one who loved it. And it was so funny when you get out here and you discover that there are so many other people that love it like you. I was the person that watched the Oscars every year like so many other dreamers out there. But of course, you understand that there's so many other... Listen, I was avid with Siskel and Ebert. I watched every Barbara Walters interview, because I loved it so much. I remember going, I want to be that. This is when I first saw Diane Carroll in Claudine when I was a very, very little girl. But you know what, over the years and over watching many, many great actors, and going to many plays and just being an actor myself and being on stage, this is what I feel the craft is. I think it is when you as an artist, an actor, can perform something extraordinary in front of an audience, right? When you embody, this is what I wrote down, when you can embody a presence, right, that is compelling enough to capture the audience's time and attention long enough to leave an impact on them. And then that impact entertains them. The impact is that they were entertained. They leave thinking different, feeling different. They've been healed, emotionally, intellectually. They're happy, they're sad. And then there's a call to action. Like it causes them to do something. You've changed the conversation. That's how impactful art is. So when an actor can get on stage and they can embody a performance and do something extraordinary. So it isn't just, I can say that it is, when we talk about acting, you can think about drama, but then I think about comedians. If you think about Whoopi Goldberg and how she really, really became famous through her one-woman show. She embodied many characters, but she was also doing comedy, right? So she was able to capture an audience. That is what the craft is. When I went over to London for the first time to study, now I've been to London many times, but I'm talking about when I went to London to study acting. I remember one of the first things I went to was a play in a park. And I always pictured that, a play happens only in a theater, in a building. But no, it was funny because they were performing this play. It was a period piece in a park, and they had these beautiful green bushes, right? Sort of like this partition behind me, right? And that was backstage. So behind the bushes was backstage. So I realized, and I also realized this, that I went to another play where there wasn't any sets built. It was just a plain stage with flowers and candles surrounding it to create a barrier, or to create, that was the barrier to the atmosphere that defined the world, right? And I realized that the actors had to be skilled enough to create that world for you. Even on film, you can deliver this powerful performance. And I think, oh gosh, throughout the latter part of the 20th century, I mean, yes, you have the greats like Helen Mirren, Dame Judi Dench. But when I think about Glenn Close and Meryl Streep, who have come to define, in my mind, what it actually means to take a character and literally become that character, to transform yourself. And when I think about Meryl Streep in either Sophie's Choice or Kramer versus Kramer, she transforms. Like, you forget who she is. I think about Leonardo DiCaprio, who, whatever character he's playing, you only see him as that character. You know nothing about him really privately. I mean, sure, there's his dating life, but you know, yeah, I mean, other than the environment in his dating life, you only know him for these characters. Same thing with Robert De Niro. Same thing with Angela Bassett, and of course the great Denzel Washington. So that's the idea, is the ability to become another person. So that begs the question, right? That's why the politics behind acting is kind of murky now. If you want to play a person who's in a wheelchair, that means that you spend time transforming yourself into what that person is and what it's like, and how to project yourself in terms of posture, in terms of, you know, when I think about Christian Bale in The Machinist and how he literally emaciated himself to become that character, right? The politics would be like, well, no, you need to only have somebody skinny play that character, or you only need to have someone who's physically challenged to play someone in a wheelchair. No, acting means just that. You're playing a role that's different from yourself, and you are becoming that so that you can present that to an audience. You are embodying a presence, a performance that you've created to encapsulate an audience, to entertain them, to have an impact on them. The process by which you become an actor and practice that craft. Let me tell you a quick story. One of the greatest practitioners of the craft is one of my former teachers named Floyd King. Shout out to him. He was a great Shakespearean classic actor. I saw him doing Shakespeare he was doing it in an open arena. And he was just, you know, Shakespeare, when you think about the iambic pentameter of doing that, it is not easy to do, but he was mastering it. He'd done so many Shakespeare parts that it was like second nature to him. But he was standing in front of this audience. He was performing that Shakespeare language like it was nothing. And then a baby interrupted him. And he picked up the baby, calmed the baby down, had banter with the mother, and then went right back. Didn't lose his place with that Shakespearean monologue. That is the craft. You know how many years it takes to do that? The practice. What it takes to discipline yourself, to memorize your lines, to get your body posture, to master movement. That's just a quick perspective on what the craft is. So, tell me what you think the craft is. Let me know in the comments.